Sizwe Nyika Nation. Characters: Sizwe, Chiedza, Tino, father of Sizwe, and the chorus. As the audience enters and waits for the play to begin, they sit strategically positioned in a semicircle facing the stage. Umbira strings playing in the background of Zimbabwe Yakuya Nehondo instrumental. Enter Sizwe, headed stage right. She is holding a winnowing basket with vegetables. Enter Chiedza, headed stage left, later making zvio, a traditional meal made from a finger millet. Out of mind and sight of each other, yet so close, but far away. A small fire in their back with a clay pot frying some onions and garlic, and the aroma fills the auditorium. Small twigs on the side, chirongo and a few clay pots backstage are set. Lights is dimmed and warm. The play begins.
June 16, 1976. South African troops and police opened fire on a peaceful school children's demonstration. The colonial government presides over the largest massacre of its own black young population since South Africa came into existence. Hundreds of them die and thousands wounded. When the Prime Minister is asked for a comment, he simply says, "There is no crisis." Al Jazeera.
1994. The Rwandan genocide claimed over 800,000 lives of their own kinsmen. Hutu Tutsi now live in harmony. What is harmony? Does it even exist? United Nations and all the world powers stood still and watched day after day after day. No interventions.
Whenever you have operations, you are bound to have one or two incidents, but not the mass graves they talk about. Where are they? You travel the length and breadth of Matabebe land and you won't find a mass grave. Gukurahundi? Well, Gukurahundi was a moment of madness. Zimbabwe, 1983. Robert Mugabe, BBC.
Lights up. Sizwe and Chiedza set their market stalls and Tino enters.
Fresh bananas, apple, orange, just 50 bun, please get some, madam.
Apples, chilies, very juicy tomatoes. I'll bring a rich, thick, tasty texture to your stews. Hey, buy some for your wife so you don't complain of rubbish food.
Dollar for more dollar, get your fresh fruit and veggies. Madam, we even have very comfortable bras and panties, only 50 cents each for two. I will give you a discount if you buy one. How many should I pack for you?
Have you forgotten that the police were chasing us here? Huh? Just a few days ago.
What, so how do you suggest we sell our goods then? Margaret Thatcher, the old Shona queen of this market full of wisdom?
Don't say I didn't warn you.
Mm-hmm.
Tino sits down and places his products on the side as he prepares to eat. He washes his hands in a dish and waits.
This little Nabele girl is rude.
Chiedza dishes out the sadza, vegetables and meat she has been cooking, and serves. They sit in a circular form and get ready to eat.
I don't want problems. When people are full, vanonets.
Moms, Canny, oh, come on, mother. We always pay your money every time, Winnie.
When people are full, they become fools.
She picks up the plate of sadza. They all hand her the money and eat.
So, Sizwe, how did it go at the passport office? I heard you nailed it at the singing competition.
Mm-hmm. The competition was amazing, to you know. Umoya wami, awusekolapa. Kangela ukashana, kontutuzi atuna. Join in. Umoya wami yo, awusekolapa. Kangela ukashana, kontutuzi atuna.
And the winner is Sizwe baby.
Thank you.
Over to you, Sizwe.
Oh, thank you so much. I just want to say thank you so much for choosing me and putting the City of Kings on the map. We too are good at what we do, and we have talents to show. I am so excited that I will be flying to Kenya for the finals of this competition and a Debele queen to represent Bulawayo and the nation of Zimbabwe. Oh, it's an honor.
Yes, indeed. We look forward to you winning the finals and bringing the victory home.
Sizwe sings another line of her winning song again. They laugh and then continue eating.
Umoya wami. Oh, it was a lovely night.
Oh, yes, it was. Sizwe, do you remember that young gentleman who sang the George Benson song? He was so good. You know, he reminded me of the olden days. That was a tight competition.
Yes, but I won. And that's all
Of
that matters.
course you did, my daughter. That's all that matters. You're right.
Don't call me that.
Call you what?
Your daughter.
Okay, it's fine. I'm sorry.
Heartbroken, Chiedza stands up and takes her plate to the back of her stool and prepares to wash the dishes.
So how is the process going? When are you going to Kenya?
Hey, we're done. Do you want to take the plates?
Chiedza takes the plates and also washes her hands using a jug and walks off stage and later gets back to cell.
Tomatoes, onion, ginger and garlic, the freshest, most juiciest ones you can ever get from this market.
Potato and you butter natari pano na.
You know, Kumukumra Mizuke is where you get the freshest fruits and veggies. So, Sizwe, how did the passport application go?
It went well.
Wow. So when are you collecting that green treasure? You know, I don't even have a passport. Don't worry, that document is gold.
Well, I don't even have an ID.
What do you mean you don't have an ID?
Exactly that.
Sizwe, come on, you said the process went well just a minute ago.
Can't a person just change their mind as they wish and just be able to express themselves, Tino? I said it went well.
It is true what they say about Ndebele girls. Rude and arrogant.
Why are we talking about tribes now? Yet it's an issue of a passport.
Because you are being dramatic.
Fine! I don't have a birth certificate, an identification card, and I can't get a passport.
Sizwe, I'm sorry. I just wanted to know how far... the things that make girls upset are just out of this world, honestly. Just asking about the particulars. I think she likes me.
Because I just say, Futa, your sweet talk didn't work this time. Guess what, Tino? I just sold most of my products. And I need more. My tabasa matsimu vangu.
Good for you. Next time I won't entertain people during business hours.
What happened, Futi? Chichaitika.
Celia is sensitive for nothing. How can she be mad over an ID? I don't even have one.
But why don't you have one?
What use is it?
You need to have an identity, Saskami.
Well, it got lost some time ago and I haven't gone to get a replacement, plus the money for a replacement. Besides, I don't need a document to prove who I am.
At least your case is not complicated.
What do you mean?
Well, for Sizwe, she can't even have a birth certificate.
Mother, the government is on a national initiative to give people these things. What is the issue? You must read the newspapers. I'll see you later.
Tino walks out. Chiedza remains, thinking deeply about the subject of Sizwe's documentation and imagines how best she can help her, but is downplayed.
It's not as simple as you think.
Chiedza tidies up the stall and puts her things in a box, and as she is about to leave, enter Sizwe.
They said they wanted my parents' particulars if they were to give me the ID, then the passport.
Why didn't you tell me?
Why would I tell you? You're nothing close to even knowing who I am. What were you going to do, Mother Teresa? Besides, I don't like you.
Chiedza moves closer to Sizwe in a bid to connect.
That's what I say, Manang.
Evening.
Where did you go after eating? We were looking for you everywhere. You know, there's a rich lady who came and bought all my produce, Sanas.
Good for you. Tell me, Chiedza, just why did you adopt me and Tino? I mean, from the children's home, there were so many of us without parents. And to be picked by a Shona woman whose people killed my father boggles the mind, don't you think? Why did you pick me and Tino and not the others?
Because I'm your mother. And mothers who love their children keep them.
What, you think we don't have parents, so you want to compensate for what your people did by feeling sorry for us and taking us? I was better off there than selling tomatoes here with you.
Well, people in life have choices, and I just wanted you to have someone you call your mother.
You are not my mother.
Okay. What's the matter, Sizwe?
Chiedza walks to her and embraces her in a bid to console.
You know, when I went to that competition, it was your idea.
Yes.
Why?
Because I knew you could do it. You're such a good singer, Sihle, but that boy was real competition.
What, did you want that Shona boy to be the one who won?
No, Sihle, but why?
Yes, you did. Because every time we talk about that competition, you always bring him up. Why?
But
why do you keep bringing it up?
Because I want to remind you that you beat him at it. You made it, my baby.
Yes, but I still can't go to Kenya because I don't have any particulars. I have no identity, nothing and no one.
Spotlight on Sihle.
My name is Sihle. Sihle Bebe. I don't know who my mother is. I know I just told you who I am, but what if I'm not who I think I say I am? What if that isn't really who I am? Well, growing up, all I knew was that present would one day be past, buried and forgotten like the lives that were drowned in Antelope Mineshaft. The memory of what it would have been like to have a father, mother, sister, or brother drowned for no one to ever know. Burnt down huts with a living in them. The smell of burning flesh and the sound of painful screams to accompany it all like an orchestra, made to sing, dance and clap as it plays on. God, the irony. The sweet scent of the beginning of the summer rain. I could taste it as each drop hit the ground. Life. I dreamt of that place. A place we could erase history by humanity, Ubuntu. That ability to know who you are. You know who you are because of the positivity in the next person. Hunhu, but never return to it. Dust to dust. As a child, I enjoyed so much. I had a red bishop collar dress that had little strings that were hanging off the side that shook when I moved. I enjoyed playing in the dusty roads of Luveve with my friends and going to the village and seeing my friends and enjoying playtime. Hopscotch, peekaboo, just playing rock, paper, scissors, 8, 9, 10, ready or not, here I come. My all-time favourite. Ring a roses, a pocket full of posies, a tissue, we all fall down. We knew our values. Love, peace, respect, unity, and Ubuntu. But did we really?
It's time to bath, girls.
Now, bathing was a proper task that required strategy, especially after playing all day and knowing that the dish of water would be at the back of the house full. Well, half full, really, because back then we didn't really have the precious liquid, so we would bathe in freezing cold water.
Take off your clothes and get in the water.
It was a battle. What I can say is that back in the day, I did make sure that I played a lot on the front line, which was, and now it's the most important one after all. Thank God for Facebook, social media. So after washing my face, I decided to forget about what was behind and just did justice to my legs so that I could keep walking. As I continued with this life, I outgrew some of the games. The way of life stole my innocence. It was as though a dark cloud was slowly hovering over my township, my village, my people. I felt it, but maybe it was just me thinking. We are one, yet two different individuals, yet very similar and intertwined by blood, history, and identity. Who we are is human, yet what we have become. Bitter monsters crying and screaming inside for a warm embrace, and that still voice that says, it's okay. But
enter Chiedza, Spotlight.
I was raised in the mountains of Makasasa, between two valleys. The river there was always flowing in its rear, where we caught fish, did some swimming, and if we were lucky, you'd catch a glimpse of Njuzu, the water spirit. Mermaid, you would call it. I fetched drinking water there and took the goats for a drink, took my bath ipapo parwizi ipapo. As a child, I would try to follow the river curiously to see where it really came from and where it ended, but to no avail. No secrets, no pain, no struggle. We were living our lives normally. One beautiful day, I just finished bathing at the river when suddenly a troop of baboons crossed. I knew immediately that something was not right. So I picked up my chirongo, clay pot, and rushed home. Our village was surrounded by trees. Murambwi Magwizi. Murambwi was a tall, very tall, dark and handsome, like dawn, with white teeth. His teeth were so white, I believe they were like goat's milk. He had eyes that pierced my soul when he looked at me, brown, gem-like. His arms were strong and feet grounded, and when he walked, well, you'd continue looking on to see the wonders of God's creation. He was majestic. He was my friend. We met at that very river every now and then just to chat while I was waiting for my brother to return home with the kettle. We decided kuita msengabere, eloping, and we had a way of doing things, but never did happen eventually. The gods had their own plans.
That day, the radio was playing very good music. I had just come from Igangi, just near our neighbourhood, the bush, to fetch firewood. The 5th Brigade, one division of the army, had infiltrated our area to weed out problematic people who were a threat to the government. Kukura Hundi. At least that's what they told us. The worst was about to happen. Dissidents. Until now, I really don't understand what classified one to be one, a dissident. Because weren't we all one? A beautiful Zimbabwe just after independence. Who are you? Who am I? An image of subconscious denial of the identity once known, yet now so dangerous and obsolete maybe. The danger of self to self. Am I dreaming? Gunshots, noise, loud noise. Oh God, the noise was so unbearable.
He was naughty that evening. He asked me if we could, do it. His touch was electric, and each stroke brought chills to my spine and goose pimples to my skin. He caressed my small, pointed breasts, gently licking them with his warm tongue. It was nice. I was so embarrassed, and I asked him to stop it, Maniwe. Then he pulled me to the rock, kuseri kwemchakata, which was just around the corner next to the river, and slowly enveloped me and my hourglass torso in a marvelous, rhythmic manner.
Kneel down and put your hands in the air with your identity card. As we were still in the confusion of what was happening, my father was hit with a log on his shoulder. Now, what is happening, please?
I knelt down, and he stroked my thighs so gently. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe in pleasure. Iwekani.
Please don't do this, please. One by one, the people were made to identify themselves. Where are you going? I watched my father being hit with a long, thick black pole and a stick and a shambok. They used everything they had. It was 5 of them all taking turns beating my pillar, my superhero. My father who walked me to the nearby bush to pick up twigs when he was at home and we had no power. One who chased me back home and said, you should be strong and courageous. A strong woman, because I am strong. He was my everything. Where is your strength, Baba? He knelt there helplessly right in front of us. He had fought in the struggle. I watched him as I reminisced our conversation on the Independence Day.
Yazisi, we sing our national anthem with pride.
Kosi sikeleli Afrika, malupakanisu tumolwayo, izwa imitandazo
yethu Nkosi sikelela thina usapho lwayo.
The celebrations, the joy and the happiness that filled the air on the day as the Union Jack was lowered. Everyone was so excited. The dancing, the singing, food, drinks, oh no, we celebrated for days. We had won the liberation struggle. Men, women, boys, girls, Ndebele, Shona, Kalanga, Zambia, Mozambique, and all the help we got from neighbouring countries. But above all, the spirit of Zimbabwe that led the war. Those without knee shall come. Chamika wailed, it had happened. Even Bob Marley came all the way from America to celebrate with us.
It was Jamaica, Baba.
I know, I just wanted to pull your leg.
Hey, then what happened, Baba?
The fire is dying down, Claire, and the firewood is over there, and we need to eat Kanzela.
But you just already started telling the story.
Yes, because I was hungry and motivating you to cook.
Oh, so what, now you're not?
No, now I am ready to eat. Besides, who tells the story before we've eaten supper?
Oh, so when did you meet Umama? After war or during these celebrations?
That doesn't matter.
Why?
Because I said so. Can you finish cooking and dish the food, Sikhle?
I hope to meet her one day, even in the afterlife. He never wanted to talk about her. I remembered our talks as they continued to torture him. The memory of his voice sings the anthem was my shot, my high. For some funny reason, I felt numb to the reality of the brutality. This is Zimbabwe. I am a dissident.
Kosi si haukele, kosi, kosi,
kosi si haukele,
kosi si haukele,
kosi,
si haukele,
si haukele,
kosi si haukele,
kosi,
kosi,
kosi si haukele.
Kosi si haukele,
kosi,
si haukele,
si haukele. Wounded minds are difficult to heal than wounded bodies. Or was it both? He was a former comrade. They continuously hit him with that stick, engraving fear in them to never ever think they could be in this nation. Who said they thought of being even? Amazing how thoughts can be threats.
It was hard and straight. I felt it, taking a journey into my forbidden land with leaps and bounds, destroying each barrier with such strength, yet smooth, gentle precision that the pain of the bounds was indeed felt and accompanied with the flow of the famous milk and honey, evidence of that promised land. Ecstasy.
And when they were done, they took him away in their trucks to finish him off God knows where. It was unbearable. The pain pierced right through me like a dagger. All the brutal things that happen to anyone start with a thought, an idea of just one individual to humiliate another. God, what really happened?
I see it every night. I hear their chants. The shouts, the women, the children screaming, grown men groaning in pain. Our epitome of protection stripped in plain sight. That very bright fire of hearts set alight. I see it. I smell the burning flesh and the rotting stench of blood and fly-infested decaying bodies right in my eyes. Khaki camouflage clothes, green, brown, black paint on their faces, guns, sticks, pangas. I saw them chop off heads of people like they were killing chickens. I ran to the forest at night. The dense vegetation would hide my shadow. But during the day, I would hide in a pit latrine, my haven. Waste, urine, you name it. The smell of feces was terrible at first, but became my refuge and safety net for me, because no one would have thought anyone would dare dive in the waste and share intimate moments with rotten waste and maggots moving all over. The flies, mosquitoes, my home. I was safe. I had escaped from the horrors of forced rape by hundreds of men, history repeating itself. One night, a woman and her baby were hiding just like I was in the forest, under the full moon, there silently, just a few meters away from me, mother and child. The baby was quite irritable and making noise, so she sat down slowly, in a bid not to make a sound to alert the mob.
Night after night, I lay in the dark, praying to be heard, but no one came for me. I lived on my own until I was old enough to walk. Whenever I visit my village, well, the village they tell me I come from today, I feel nothing but despair, hate and anger. I lost my childhood. I lost me. I have so much of me that I would have known and gained from being the son of one of the militias, but how do we lose things that we never had? Why do I mourn a family that was never mine? I know you don't have answers for me, but I still have questions. I sell fruits and vegetables at the marketplace to make a living, yet I am dead. I have nothing and no one. All I have is a voice to shout, my banana, my apple, my orange. Here, yet my spirit drifts away with the wind. I wonder.
Tula tula mtwana tula sana Jenu mama zabuya ekuseni.
She began to feed the baby. That precious connection of mother and child, pure and priceless. The link of the umbilical cord, the placenta, the fetus in its mother's womb, the safe haven until birth.
Tula tula mtwana tula sana Tulu mama zabuya ekuseni.
The baby looked into its mother's eyes as she to it, love uncorrupted. In a split second, before I could enjoy the serenity of that moment, her head was on the ground, yet the baby still suckling milk and blood. Milkshake, strawberry flavor, I presumed. In its mother's hands, still tightly held. God, what do I do? Gushing of blood all over. I froze. God help me. The baby fell to the ground eventually, soaked in a warm pool of its mother's blood. One by one, they quenched their thirst, taking turns raping the corpse. Or was it having sex? It couldn't have been rape. She was a headless corpse with its baby sleeping on its side. Ejaculation, sweat, smoke, urine. Who in their right minds would do that? Despicable.
Did you take it?
What?
The baby, did you take it?
Did you take the goddamn child, woman?
I headed back to my haven.
You left a helpless baby in the forest to God knows what.
How was I?
How were you what? If you really wanted to save that baby, you would have.
You have no idea what it's like.
We attack, capture, torture and kill.
You don't know how it's like to hold your last breath as you watch your whole family being butchered. Pangas, chopping, people burnt alive, screaming, babies smashed on the walls. A beautiful wall of art. A painting of crimson red with a touch of white slithering brain courtesy of baby Chipo Sophie or whatever its mother gave its name to.
No, you could have.
Don't stand here and patronize me about being selfish, Sihle. For days I would gaze through the gaping wall of the pit latrine and looked up to see the moon shining as if everything was normal. The humor of the gods. dreaming that this nightmare would end, go to the market maybe. A broken shed, asbestos, perhaps 9. It had 9 panels, black mothy finish. The soft, helpless cry of the baby in the forest that night. Don't you think it bothers me? That maybe it was eaten by wild animals, or maybe shot or beheaded like its mother. Don't you think it hurts me? Well, maybe not. I too needed to leave.
What, and that justifies you sleeping at night unbothered, does it?
I feared I was trying hard not to make a sound when 2 stray buttocks blocked the moon and showered me with shit, Sizwe. Do you know the taste of shit? Well, it tastes just like its name. Shit!
Hypocrite.
Watch your mouth, young lady. Your tone is very provocative.
Or what? You'll kill me like your people did mine, huh?
Ah!
You let a child die because you wanted to save yourself. God, you want to act all self-righteous and act like a Christian. Yet you wrote history in such a horrific manner.
You don't know what you're talking about.
I know exactly what I'm talking about. And you should be ashamed of yourself, you old hog.
Well, I'll never be ashamed.
Why not? You left an innocent child to die, yet it was in your power to save it. Why wouldn't you be ashamed?
Because that baby was you! You were that baby, Sizwe.
No one wanted to be associated with me because my father was part of the 5th Brigade. The military is trained to fight under instruction. All he was doing was following orders. Now I live in the memory.
Oh, you wish.
Sizwe.
Night after night, I hid in the dark, scared, praying Auntie would come back, praying to be heard, but no one came. I lived on my own until I was old enough to leave. Whenever I visit Liveve, I feel nothing but pain. I lost my childhood that day. I lost me. I know I lost so much, but how do you lose something you never had? Why do I mourn for a life I never had, that was never mine? Children walking with their parents, playing, singing. No, it can't be. Never. All I have is God. You have no one to love, or anyone who ever did, and now you want to own me. Not you, not Shauna Blood, never. If you thought you would cox me, then you got the wrong one, old lady.
Sizwe, I'm not the one stuck in the past holding on to things that happened in history. It hurts. We all hurt. He ordered the killings and your people were killed, bitten, raped, or whatever it is they went through, but staying there, it will never heal you. You need to rise above this and free yourself from this mental torture. He's dead, Sizwe. Robert Mugabe is dead.
What, and those buffoons that are in power now? The soldiers, the fools walking around as if nothing happened, huh?
He was a man under command from the highest office in the land. What do you expect him to do? A fugitive too, who just ran for his life to save his own life later. He himself was a lamb to slaughter.
You speak as one of purity indeed, huh? You're an egocentric, manipulative, brainwashed bitch who slept with my father. And
that
anything
bastard you call your father raped me! He raped me.
What?
Because of who I was, who I am. Your father was a spy who sold out the comrades during the struggle. So I reported him. I did what was right. And then him and his friends caught me, held me and tied me, laughed at me. It was at night. I could feel the cold breeze on my tiny, helpless body. Again, it was a full moon. I could smell the sweat and fermented African 7 days beer in his mouth, and his friends took turns holding me down as he became a man, taking my most prized possession, my body, the only gift I swore to give my boyfriend. And your baby? Your father dived into me as if he owned me. Do you know how that feels, Sizwe? Do you? He said, "Ndiri buru." I can go all the way. You see this? Do you see this? Look at it, goddammit! Your father took a piece of charcoal because it was getting cold and he wanted to heat things up a bit before he raped me again and again and again and again. Who in his right mind does that? Huh? Blood dripping on my thighs, flesh torn, and my scream. Your father hurt me, Sizwe, and I can never reclaim it. And when they were done, they left me there weak. The stars were so beautiful and bright too. I managed to run away to Botswana. And guess what? I was pregnant with you! I never wanted you, but when you cried at night, I held you so tight and you'd stop crying. When you suckled my breast, I felt your love, but I couldn't bear the thought of how I had you. So I took you to his family, his sister. I hated you, Sizwe! Yet I loved you, but I never knew how to embrace you, Manam. Your father hated the Shona people just like his forefathers did. They raided my people, taking cattle, goats, and killing over 250,000 people. My Shona blood flows through your veins. And there's no such thing as a pure Ndebele. Nothing. Because we were all in one bag under King Ziligazi, then Lo Bengula. Do you think I have no blood in my veins, or don't I feel pain? You want to sit there and justify your anger and take it out on me because of 20,000 people? Because you can't deal with it. Because your father was among them. What about me? What about the Hutus and the Tutsis? What about the Jews in the concentration camps? What about the slaves that were thrown in the ocean? What about them, Sizwe? We can't drown in our own tears. We need to rise above this.
People have no identity. Children are running away from Zimbabwe the first chance they can.
And whose fault is that? You want to blame the government for that? You want to blame the government for failing to deal with your own hurt and pain? Sizwe, I have my own fair share of pain and torture and atrocities of this life. But for me to freeze in time because of death? No.
I don't have an ID. I don't have a job. I'm not recognized or seen as human. When you treat a dog wrong, it will bite you. Fathers were buried alive while mothers and children watched. They danced as they sang. Houses burned down, no food, clothes, shelter, nothing. Dissident. So what, you don't care? You don't care that I watched the father of your child being tortured, taken away and killed?
You don't know that!
So where is he, huh? Why can't the government apologise, or at least acknowledge what was done?
What is to acknowledge?
It is to admit that the 5th Brigade killed and terrorised the people of Matabeleland.
The whole world knows that, Sizwe. Was Robert's statement of moment of madness not acknowledgement enough?
No! We want justice, compensation,
You
life.
need to heal. You need closure and you need to let go and move on.
I need justice.
What does that even mean, Sihle? And when you get justice, what? You wallow in depression?
You don't care, right?
Will that bring back your father, Sihle? What is justice? Do you even know what that means?
Justice is seeing the perpetrators brought to book. How do I live settled, yet the remains of loved ones are just lying in ruin, watching as the same people walk free?
We will never justify brutality and murder at any level. We can never arrest the whole army because they were given an order. Get me right, Sihle. What happened was wrong and must never be repeated, but to wallow, to allow outsiders to detect when and where and how we handle our own issues, that's a no. We have never interfered with any issues in Europe or let alone fund programs to destabilize their nation in the pretext of peace and reconciliation. Let them not pay people to divide us because of our wrongs, the wrongs that we've done to each other. We have our ways of dealing with our own disputes, Sihle. Kuripangozi, Matare, Kuchenura, ceremonies like Umbuyiso, all these are who we are. Even the Ndebele are still in talks right now. Kuripa Chaminuka. Let us gather together to pray for healing within. Then and only then can we have peace. We can't keep transferring hate and anger from past generations to the next generation.
Those bastards murdered us. And you want me to what?
Who do you want to do it for you, Sihle? These are your bones, your blood.
When pressure mounted on your government a few years ago from the war veterans that you were each given 50k, why?
I don't know.
Because they died for this country. We died for this country. Gukurahundi. What about Gukurahundi?
The war from Fekane? How do you propose we deal with that?
That's pre-colonial and ancient history. We're talking about this, not that. I said, what about Gukurahundi?
Oh, so now we can choose and select which part of history is relevant and worth taking action than the other?
Gukurahundi.
What about it?
When are we going to openly talk about it? Relive it and get over it like you did. You think it's easy to just sit around and act like it's all fine? People were killed. What started out as government suppression of dissidents in the region following a rift between ZANU and SAPU ended up costing the lives of about 20,000 people. My family included. And you want to just let go? I dream of the day that we will have functional schools, industrial estates that will actually work. I dream of walking into the registration office and getting identification without being reminded of who I am and how that same government is the reason for that challenge. I don't have particulars to prove who I am. I dream of a day that I'll sit around a bonfire and tell the story of who we are and what we've gone through for historic sake, for my grandchildren. A time where I can walk to a gravesite and say, this is where he or she is buried, because the spirit of Ubuntu would have been embraced and be allowed to rebury, cleanse, and bring home the wandering spirits of our people. A time where every affected person will get closure and be able to get out to a place of self, if ever. What happened should never be forgotten, but always talked about, without fear, so that we remind ourselves that being human is more to life than race, tribe, colour, or anything else. What is done cannot be undone. The greatest pain of a victim is seeing death all around and no sign of life. Life in happiness, growth, progress. That's all that we seek. It's just that. Life. As for forgiveness, well, that's a virtue. Someone must take responsibility.
Here we go again.
If genocide is not dealt with, history will keep repeating itself. Africa is a peaceful continent. Let's just have justice. Someone must take responsibility.
What is responsibility, Sihle?
Those who are unburied wander in the spirit without rest. We're spiritual. Let us seek God. You too haven't moved on from the pain and trauma that Baba caused you. And that's why you two sold him out. You two can't let go. Look at yourself in the still waters. You'll see how deep your soul runs.
You don't know what you're talking about.
All I want is closure, Mama.
Ceremonial Mbira strings fade to give ritual feel lighting. Chiedza, her daughter, and her son walk towards each other.